Welcome to Reclaiming Your Voice, the conversation. I am your host, Vernica RYV. You may call me V. Here is another encouraging and life-changing episode. But first, you must know that on this show, we believe that honoring your needs and discovering your values and core values will begin your journey towards healing, reclaiming your voice, and giving God the glory. This episode happened this morning, and if you are new to the RYV channel, I have a series that is called From My Journal, From His Heart. If you have not seen one of those videos, I will link it in the description area and in the show notes. Reclaiming Your Voice, the conversation is also a podcast. So you can watch it and listen to it on any podcast directory. Let's get started with this. I'm going to be looking down at my journal. I will have my Bible open. I use the NLT just to give you a heads up. So this morning, I was thinking about my journey to reclaim my voice, which began in 2020. I began to think about what the Lord said to me when all of this began. He said to me to come out of my comfort zone and get on camera. Now, I really realized this morning about the Lord's personality. Maybe you know this already, but it was special to me. Ever since 2020, when the Lord said this to me, I was like, oh, he wants me to come out of my comfort zone. And as if that was just one instruction, but I realized this morning it was two. It was for me to come out of my comfort zone and separate, get on camera. So the come out of my comfort zone was the focus on this morning, because I talk about my journey coming out of my comfort zone with the metaphor of a thick blanket, which was my protection when I was experiencing this, a lot of trauma, a lot of things when I was younger. I was Linus from the Peanuts. I carried my blanket everywhere. Everything that I've experienced has become a thick layer under that blanket, my comfort zone, my blanket of comfort. This morning, I began to think about so much that I have gone through. Like, it's the end of the year. It's almost 2024. And I was just thinking back, 2023 has been really a rough year for me, as well as 2022. Heck, since 2020, it's been really, really uncomfortable. God has been with me the whole time. And I'm thinking I wanted to get closer to him. I wanted to experience his love in a different way. And did he show himself this year? The testimonies that I can share that I won't share for right now, because I want to bring your awareness to intimacy is uncomfortable. That has been my walk for several years. I wonder if it has been yours. I wonder if the struggles that you have been experiencing, let's just say this year, I wonder how you've been looking at it. If you consider your life right now a wilderness season, if you feel like you have been in a cave, if you feel like you have been in a pit, if you feel like you have been in a valley, alone, separate from people, just going through things over and over and over again, I wonder what your perception has been. Because what blew my mind today is that the uncomfortable spaces, the uncomfortable experiences that you and I will go through, what you and I are going through right now, It's God wanting to be intimate with us. He wants to be close to us. He wants us to experience him in a different way. And I know that may sound weird or crazy, but I will tell you, legit, I have become so much closer to the Lord as I've been struggling financially. Right now, I'm in the process of moving. Don't know where I'm going yet. Mostly financial challenges, family, uncomfortable decisions that I have made this year alone. Thinking back has been insane. 2023 has been no joke. The Father has been with me the whole time. The whole time. I want to share with you what I wrote in my journal. I'm going to read it so that it'll make sense to you. And I read, let me find a good spot. The hard and uncomfortable things. When we buck against the uncomfortable, when we resist the uncomfortable, we are rejecting God's desire to be intimate with us. We are rejecting him. All he wants is to go deeper in relationship with us. That he wants us closer to him. This is true throughout scripture from the beginning of the word all the way to Revelation, and right now with Jesus sitting on the right hand of the Father. Moses to Abraham, from Jacob to Gideon. All these individuals became closer to the Father because of uncomfortable situations. I am no different. You are not any different. And I know so many of us, and you may have done this, you ask God to understand him more, to know of him more, to get understanding through the word more. We have these ways how we think God is going to do it. And even if those ways are based on what we've learned in or out of church, maybe we know somebody who grew up in church. It could be our mother, grandmother, aunt, whoever. We've heard something that has us thinking that it's a certain way how God does it. And if there's any way other than this right here, it's a lie. It's not who he is. It's not who he is. It's not who Jehovah God is. Now, maybe some other lowercase g's, but that's not who Jehovah God is. That's not who he is. And he has shown himself consistent throughout the word, Old Testament and New Testament. And I'm going to show it to you. When I experience God in a miraculous way, I ask God to never allow me to forget. And one thing that I do is that I mark those miraculous moments with the Father. I mark it with worship. When the miracle happens or that interaction between me and the Lord happens, yes, I praise and I worship. And I also, in my heart, I create an altar for those special moments. Moses built an altar, and he called that spot where he built the altar, "The Lord is my banner." The Lord's name of the Lord is my banner is Yahweh Nisi. So the Lord is my banner. It's the altar that Moses built regarding the generational war against the Amalekites. That enemy has been a generational enemy. The next person is Abraham. You know, Abraham was directed to take his son Isaac and put him on an altar. The angel came. The Lord said, "Don't kill your son." Well, Abraham made that altar provision. Jehovah Jireh, provision, because the Lord provided a ram in a bush. So Abraham won't slay his son. The next person is Jacob. Jacob was fleeing his brother. because his brother Esau, because Esau wanted to kill him. Jacob created an altar that is in reference to, the name of the altar is, who answered me in the day of my distress. Next altar, Gideon built an altar that's called the place of peace. Gideon was called a man of valor. And Gideon said, "You talking to the wrong dude. That is not me." That made Gideon uncomfortable. And then Gideon turned around, defeated all the enemies, and he defeated Baal. The last thing that came to me, when Jesus was on the cross and his mother and the disciples was looking up to him, Calvary was a form of an altar for you and I. So all of these altars that was built by several men of God, they were built for worship, and they were built within an uncomfortable place, an uncomfortable situation. So if you want to get close to the Lord like never before, it will be uncomfortable. It will be uncomfortable. Who are we to think that getting closer to the Lord is supposed to be easy? Or maybe we may think that it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be so, the war that it takes, the fight that it takes at times to just get close to the Lord. You know what I'm talking about? Having quiet time. We got distractions everywhere, or we're too sleepy to do it, or we forgot and we slept through it, or we didn't get up early like we said we're going to get early, or when we came home we planned on doing it but we didn't. So many things has gotten in the way. The warfare in our mind, the people in our lives, the enemy on our back. It is a daily war. It is a daily fight to get to the Lord in an intimate, close way. But guess what? What war did Jesus do? What did Jesus do in his short life on earth to get close to us? Again, this started from the very beginning. The Lord has been fighting his desire for you and I to become intimate, close with him, to know who he is in our core in a deeper way. That not only he know us as he does, but for us to get to know him deeper. Not this surface level, not based on what someone says, but as individuals, as his sons, as his daughter, as his chosen people. If you identify with being a Christian, you already know. I hope you know. And if you do not know, I will tell you that Jesus never promised this walk to be easy. He called on the disciples to come. Come with me. Follow me. Leave everything else behind. Follow me. During Jesus's life and ministry, his main thing was the Father. He went away to separate places to be alone with the Father. So many times out of Jesus' heart when he taught the disciples and whoever heard on the side, it was about intimacy. It was about intimacy. It was about intimacy. Getting closer to the Father. When the disciples asked Jesus to teach them how to pray, intimacy. The Last Supper, drink his blood, eat his flesh. That was intimacy. All the times where he was telling the disciples the closer it got to his crucifixion, he had conversations of intimacy with them. And here's one thing I want to make sure that I let you know. If you are anything like me, you can do other things. You could be home by yourself. You can have whoever watch the kids. You can make your environment as quiet and alone as possible to plan your time with him. But how many times when you done that and you prayed and your mind began to get attacked? How many times when you prayed internally and outwardly, your brain get attacked? You get attacked with all this stupid stuff and with the distractions. The shame and all the insecurities start coming in. Why are you in the midst of trying to get to God? Why are you talking to God? All these distractions start coming in. Let me tell you something. Jesus went through that too. And he has examples for us. When those things happen, he has examples for us to let us know that as we are getting closer to him, the enemy is going to try us. The enemy is going to be present. The Last Supper, who was there in the midst of that? That intimate moment. Judas was there. Remember that? When Jesus was talking to the disciples, when they was getting close to the soldiers coming to get him because of Judas, right? When Jesus was telling everyone, listen, my time has come, it's getting near. Here come Peter. No, Lord, no, this cannot happen. Don't leave. What did Jesus say to Peter? Get behind me, Satan, for you do not know the things of the kingdom. How many times have you been distracted? How uncomfortable has it been? I want you to know that you are not crazy. You are not crazy. This isn't just some random thing. It's not random. And let me tell you something. It's not your kids. It's not your spouse. It's not the outside things. It's not just the outside things. Now, if you in the middle of something and you get distracted and you pick up your phone and start scrolling, I've been there. I've done it. Okay. But it's not only that. It is the enemy of your soul. It is the enemy of my soul who since the very beginning has tried to come between you and God. I want you to hear my voice. The next time you attempt, you have it planned out, even schedule it in, your time to be with the Father, and you start getting distracted, I want you to remember it is the enemy of your soul who's trying to come in between. Don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. Don't let no one get in between you and the Lord. Our Father reaches for us every single day. He woos us every single day. And I'm going to prove that to you. Psalms 23, verse 6. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life. Psalms 23 also confirms when we are in the wilderness, when we are in the valley, he is with us to keep us close. He is with us to provide, to protect, to give us peace, to show us our purpose, to show us his purpose for you and for me. Psalms 23, I'm going to read it, NLT. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He gives me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name, even when I walk through the darkest valley. I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. Here's a question for you. In verse 5, it says that you prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. When we are experiencing the uncomfortable, when we are in the wilderness, when we are in dark valleys, and the Lord is with us with his rod and his staff to back up the enemy of our mind, of our soul, that's trying to take over our hearts, that is trying to come in between you and your relationship with the Lord. What if it's not people? What if it is the enemy of our soul? How he has prepared a table in the presence of our enemies. Go back to what I mentioned about the Last Supper. I'm just saying, our Father has been desiring you. He has been chasing you since the beginning of time. He created you and I to have this special bond with him over any other creation he has created. That's how special you are. That is how special you are. This right here, between you and the Lord, it doesn't happen with plants. It doesn't happen with animals. It doesn't happen with insects and birds and no other creation but humanity. Humanity, who Jesus died for, so that we would be reconciled back to the Father. So we will be reconciled relationally with the Father. That has been the bottom line from the very beginning. And it broke my heart this morning. And my heart is still tender and raw about this. All the times that I have rejected him when things was hard. The wilderness for me was just a barren, empty place. I did not think about the wilderness and the valley to be a place of intimacy. It was either Elijah or Elisha. He wanted to die. But in that space of pain, being uncomfortable, what did God do? He sent an angel to provide for him, to strengthen him in the uncomfortable. And he has done that. If you think back, I pray that the Holy Spirit right now brings to your remembrance at least one thing, how God miraculously had a moment with you. I'll share one testimony with you. When I was in graduate school, and if you've ever been in graduate school, you know toward the end it's harder, and you have internships, and most internships are not paid. I had bills. I'm a mom, and I still had to go to work and do internship. It became like full-time. So I had to change my full-time job to a part-time job. Money was getting crazy. I couldn't pay for my car. It was just a really uncomfortable time. I didn't know how I was going to get to my internship to finish school, and I was so close. My bills got paid. My supervisors that was at the internship, I shared what was going on with me, and one of them lived in Philly. He came and got me and brought me home because I was afraid to drive my car because I needed my car inspected. And that was a little over 20 miles away. He came and got me. My living situation, one day, because I was so nervous about bills, and I called this to find out like where I was trying to fix my credit and doing all these things financially. And when I called the landlord, I had this huge credit. The credit lasted me for 6 months. My electric bill that I thought was it was behind, I had a credit on that. I didn't even know. I had all these credits going on. I didn't even know. That took care of me for 6 months. I paid no utilities, no rent for 6 months as I was planning on moving to another location because the internship hired me. My income doubled, so I was going to move. May I never forget that moment. that I cried on the road to the internship when all of this came about. Oh, I do not want to forget. Oh, my car. The church that I was at the time, they paid for my car insurance because that was also an issue too. My inspection and my car insurance. And they helped me with my car insurance. So I was able to drive my car. If that is not a Jehovah Jireh altar, I don't know what it is. Intimacy is uncomfortable. Jesus's ministry was uncomfortable. He was rejected. People did not believe in who he was. His love for you, he chose to live an uncomfortable life for you so that you can have intimacy with the Father like he does. I was on the phone this morning with a girlfriend of mine sharing, and I began to think about the parable of the wedding feast. It was a wedding feast that represents the kingdom. Some women were prepared to go to the wedding. There were other women that was not. The women that were prepared, they had the lanterns, the oil, they were ready to go. There were other women who were not ready. The husband told some people to just go out in the streets and just find people on the street corners, basically, and invite them. Because the people that was chosen to be there, who were invited, they were not ready. They were not prepared. They did not value the intimacy. During Jesus's ministry, he spoke to the Jews and the Gentiles. The people who were wounded, from the woman at the well, from the woman with the issue of blood, the parents of children who were sick and dying, and Jesus healed them. Those were the people that were on the street corners. There wasn't necessarily, they were not invited, but they might as well come in and be in a wedding because they shown Jesus more reverence and worship than the chosen people. We know that for a fact in the Old Testament. The Lord's chosen people, they complained. And all the Lord wanted to do was save them and bring them out of bondage and be intimate and have a relationship with them. That's it. That's it. And they complained. Even when God took care of them. Over and over and over again. And all they did was basically look at God in his face and say, this ain't enough. We might as well go back to being in bondage. What you doing, it's not enough. You're not providing for me. You're not protecting me. Look at them. They're running behind us. They charging after us. There's thousands of them. You're not protecting me. You're not taking care of me, providing for me. We eating the same manna, the same food, quail all the time. You can't give us anything else to eat. You can't put better clothes on our backs. The rejection. That we spewed out to the Father. It's heartbreaking. His desire is for you to desire him. Without the stuff, without what you can get from him, but more importantly, it's his desire for you to want to be in a relationship with him. That's That's why you were created. That's why I was created. Intimacy is uncomfortable. But when someone has done everything for you, will you not? If you can do anything, if you can show any form of gratitude, would you not? Would you not do it? When I became born again, I cried out to him because I was addicted to pornography and masturbation. I felt out of control. I was out of control. That I could not stop myself. My mind and my body were not in alignment. Because of the trauma that I experienced in my childhood, my sex drive was so high. And no, that was not a good thing. Because sleeping with anyone that would have me, no, it's not a good thing. I know I'm not trying anything out. I know that's not healthy. It's traumatic. But when I cried out to Jesus that day, alone in a boyfriend's house, on the floor, my laptop was on the bed, and I asked him to help me. That has not been my struggle since. How could I not want to be in the presence of someone who not only saved my soul, but saved me from sinful desires, behaviors, continuous bad choices, missing the red flag, all of the things that once he came into my life, I now have the power over sin. That now my body is in alignment. And when it get out of alignment, I know where to go. I will go to the one who desires nothing more than to be with me, to hold my hand through any challenge, to be my first love before social media, before anything or anybody. How could I not? And I know there has been times before the place of worship that I had this morning that I've rejected him, not wanting to experience something, not believing his word that I can be in a storm and rest in a storm because he's with me. I can be brave and courageous. That when I am weak, he is strong. That I can depend on him and he is trustworthy. Him saving me the way he did. Him delivering me from the power of pornography and masturbation. He is trustworthy. All he wants is to be close to you. So I encourage you that if you are in a hard place, an uncomfortable space in your life, uncomfortable season, don't run from him. Don't project your daddy issues to him, what you went through with your ex, bullied as a kid. Don't project on him. Run to him. run to his feet, his arms, so that he can provide for you, so he can strengthen you, so he can resurrect you, so he can protect you in the uncomfortable. I hope this conversation with you will meet you where you are now and after. Be well and peace out.